Gen X, a lot of y'all had a whole village when it came to y'all children, and you can't come through for yours?
Hey beautiful people, how you are doing today? It's your girl Destiny here and welcome to my channel. How you are doing? Hope you guys are doing fantastic. So this video is a video of a woman calling out the Gen X. I've done a video I think this is the same video. I did a video over a year ago about this topic, but now the Gen X are speaking up and they are standing on business. The Gen X are speaking up on why they are not looking after their grandchildren. So apparently this woman came online to talk about how Gen X are terrible grandmoms and auntie, talking about how Gen X usually leave their children for their parents to look after, and now it's their turn now as a grandparents, as an auntie. They can't even help the millennials to look after the kids, and they're like, you know what, you have the kids, you're going to raise those kids yourself. And this woman went to really call out the Gen X generation for not helping their millennial kids to raise their kids and all that. I find this conversation very interesting because this is something that we talked about already before on this channel, but hey, we have a lot of new people here in the family, so yes, let's have this conversation again. Do you think that the Gen X generation, especially Gen X grandmothers, sucks, they don't want to look after their kids? And do you think it's the responsibility of the Gen X grandmother slash auntie to look after the millennial kids? Let me know your own thought down in the comment section. But before we get into this video, let's go hear what the sister have to say, because this stuff was coming for the Gen X generation, and the Gen X generation did not step back. They step up to it, and they came for her too. Anyway guys, let's go hear what the sister have to say, and then we'll come back and talk more.
Y'all, I really want to talk about a subject that is not talked about a lot. And the Gen X generation gonna be real hot with me, but I really want to talk about the millennials who are doing the best they can without real grandmothers. And by the way, when I say Gen X, though, that's like whoever was born in 1968 to 1980. You know, back in the day, when I used to play outside when I was a kid, I had friends who would always be at their grandmama and their auntie house. Now, my mother is not part of the Gen X generation. My mom was born in the 50s, right? So when I would go outside, I used to ask my friends, like, dang, you been at your grandma's house for a real long time. Dang, you been at your auntie house for about a real long time. Where's your mom? Like, you know, did you talk to her? Is she okay? Because you've been here for about 14 days. I mean, you would have literally thought that I worked for child services at a young age, because I had questions that needed answers, because my mama didn't play that shit. She didn't believe in leaving me at her mama's house for umpteen days and her sister's house for umpteen days during school days and never returning until like the 14th day. Like, my mama did not play none of that. And it's sad to me how millennials, you know, when it's time for them to live their life, you know, if they want to go out for a weekend, hey mama, can you watch my baby for me? A lot of y'all in the Gen X generation, you won't even look out for them. And the sad part to me, Gen X will be like, oh, I don't got time for all of that. I done raised y'all. I want to live my life. Baby, it's 365 days in a year. Your children or your child been at your grandma's house back in the day, 364. So I'm trying to figure out, who in the hell did you really raise? Some of y'all kids was at your sister house, your mama house, your great-great-grandma house. I mean, Gen X, a lot of y'all had a whole damn village when it came to y'all children, and you can't come through for yours? Now it's y'all turns to be the grandmama. It's now y'all turns to be the aunties. And it's so sad. Everybody looked out for y'all, but now it's your turn and you can't do nothing? And then you say, oh, I want to live my life. Oh, I want to live my life. Baby, what did you miss in your prime? Y'all was at the clubs 24/7. And let's not even talk about Freaknik, baby. You went every year. Now your sister needs some help. Now your brother needs some help with, hey sis, can you watch my son for me? Can you watch my daughter for me for like an hour? Ooh, an hour? An hour? Little Miss Unfit an hour too much for you? Not the same who left your child at your mama house sitting up here talking about, oh, I'm going to the club. I'm gonna be back at 9. I'm gonna be back at 9. Your mama had just told you she barely got food in the house, and you literally picking up your child, which was the millennial child. You picking up your baby Sunday evening. You can't sit up here and look out for your niece, your sister when it come down to your niece and nephew, but your children stayed at your sister's and your brother's house. Now it's your turn and you can't do nothing? And some of y'all was hella trifling, baby. Y'all would drop y'all kids off, walk off with your purse, and didn't even ask. And the sad part is nowadays the millennials really can't even ask you because they know what you was about. They know what you about. Millennials don't even pull out half the shit y'all pulled off back in the late 80s and early 90s and 2000s, baby. Come on now. Because they know what type of person you are. And what gets me is about Gen X. A lot of y'all, not all of y'all, but a lot of y'all will literally sit up there and be like, you know, the reason why my child or the children, the way they are today, the reason why they're so independent is because of me. Are they the reason why they are today because you taught them that? Or because they didn't have a choice? Because there is a difference between teaching your child to be independent and because they didn't have a choice. So which one is it? Because the millennials I went to school with, the ones that I played with, they raised themselves while you went and go off. They raised themselves when you were still at their house who still don't want you to this day. They raised themselves when y'all stayed at the club. They raised themselves when y'all spent the whole week at Freaknik. They raised themselves. And it's so sad. Y'all sorry can't come through for nobody. And the sad part is when it comes to your millennial child, her daddy already sorry. You picked her daddy, and then you gonna turn around and be a sorry mother and turn around and be a sorry mama and a sorry auntie. I mean, sometimes I look at, not all of y'all, but sometimes I look at the Gen X generation like I'm platypus. I mean, God just be making anything, because at this point, what are you good for? What are you good for? My advice to my millennials, baby, continue to do the best you can. That's all you can, sis. That's all you can do, sis. That's all you can do, bro, is do the best you can. Because at this point, baby, I mean, you've been making it as far as we all can remember. You the one that's been raising. If you the oldest, baby, we all know you've been the one raising your siblings, all of them. Early one of them. Baby, we all know you the one who had to fend for yourself. Do the best you can. And just instead of arguing with your mama and started arguing with your daddy, accept them for who they are and just keep trucking and just do the best you can. When your child start asking questions about, you know, why my grandma don't come around, why every time I look around, grandma won't let me come over, what's going on, don't dog her out. Do not dog her out. She will see when she get of age. She will see when she get of age. Just keep trucking and handle your business. Period.
Okay. Anyway, guys, please go down in the comment section and share your thoughts. I'd love to know what you think about what she said down in the comment section. If you agree, if you disagree, if you're aware, just let me know what you think down in the comment section, because this video has gotten a lot of Gen X, even some millennials, to speak up and share their thoughts on this. And I'm here for it. I personally am a millennial, and I have a lot to say about Gen X and how we millennials were being raised, and how Gen X are treating millennials children, which is like their grandchildren now, which is like the Gen Z and sometimes even the Gen Alpha. Anyway, guys, I want to know your own take down in the comment section. But before we go hear other people's thoughts on this, please go ahead and smash the subscribe button if you've not subscribed. Here on this channel, we post video every single day, 2 videos every day, and you don't want to miss out on the amazing conversation we have here on this channel. So go ahead and hit the subscribe button and click the notification bell so you'll be notified once I upload video, because like I said, every single day. So with that all said, guys, let's go check out the video and then we'll come back and talk more, because sis was...
So I'm trying to figure out, who in the hell did you really raise?
So I'm a Zennial, which means I was born on the cusp. I was born in 80, so technically I'm Gen X and I'm a millennial. That being said, who did we raise? Our siblings, our cousins, Our mama and them friends, random kids in the neighborhood who had nobody. We was responsible for everybody, including ourselves. We were latchkey kids. We were made to grow up really fast because we had to be responsible for so much. So you can't get mad at somebody because they don't watch your kids. That's your responsibility. And quite frankly, we tired of raising kids. It literally took me to be 37 before I was really in a place that I wanted to have a child of my own. So, yeah, sorry, boo.
Y'all, I really want to talk about a subject that is not talked about a lot.
I swore I wasn't going to pipe in. I swore I wasn't, but here I am. Okay, so I'm Gen X, born 1968. I am a grandmother. My grandson, Eisen, is 17 months old. And first of all, leave us alone. That's first. That's just first. Leave us alone. I have wanted this child my whole life. I wanted to be a parent just to be a grandparent. But grandparenting, for those who are listening, is not about babysitting your kid. That is not my responsibility as a grandparent. My responsibility as a grandparent is to love your child, to provide your child how I can and what I can do. You know what I'm trying to say? I got my grandson a life insurance policy. That's grandmothering to me, okay? I take him to the library. I read books with him. I provide him experiences as much as I can and will continue to. But babysitting your child is not what grandmothering is. So first of all, we should really redefine what it means to be a grandmother and what our responsibility is. Number one, I'm not raising your child. I still work. I still have activities. I don't have the time to devote to all of that kind of stuff. I see him when I see him. I love him how I can. But honestly, y'all need to really, really stop generalizing. And if you wanted somebody to watch your kids, pay a babysitter, okay? And like a good sister that I followed earlier said, why are you not making this conversation about the grandfathers and the uncles? Why is it always on us? You really need to rethink this. So,
Y'all, I really want to talk about a subject that is not talked about a lot.
Let's talk about this for a minute. Now, first of all, we would have to be retired to help you with your children. Many of us are not retired. We're still working, so we can help you financially. So how would we have time to help you financially and take care of your children? That's number one. But let's say, for the sake of argument, that people are like me and they are retired. You are the ones who talk about quality of life. You say things like, I want a quality of life, I don't want to work all the time, and we agree with you. The thing of it is, the way we saw it, we looked long term. We said, okay, we're going to work hard, raise our children, and then when we get to retirement, we're going to do what we want to do. So now we're at the doing what we want to do part. And that's what we look at as our quality of life. But let's say, for the sake of argument, that we're going to try to help you anyway. You believe in soft parenting. You don't like our parenting methods. You complain about them. And so then we say to ourselves, why repeat bad history? If they think that they weren't raised properly, if they think that we should have soft parenting and we don't, why argue? Let them do it themselves. We're too old to be answering to you and CPS. We're not about that life. We're just not going to do it. And then, if you want us to help, treat us like you respect us. I have a son-in-law and a daughter who have 2 daughters. They give me free rein with their children. They don't complain to me about how I discipline them. They trust me. And guess what? I look after their children 4 out of the 7 days a week happily. Everybody gets along. See how that works out? Food for thought.
A lot of y'all in the Gen X generation, you won't even look out for.
So I'm Gen X, and I just want to let you know that if anyone in my generation comes for you, it's either because it's not their personal experience or they don't want to face the truth about Gen X as a collective. Now, having been in my teens and 20s during the 1990s, I think I know what may have contributed to this. So when I was 11, I moved from Boston to Texas and lived a sheltered childhood with my dad. And when I graduated high school in 1994, I moved back to Boston. And I noticed that a lot of my peers were already parents at 18, 19 years old. Now, when I moved back to Boston, I was instantly homeless. I can do a story time on that, but moving on. I was couch surfing, working minimum wage jobs, really trying to make ends meet, and I was at my wit's end. And I want you to keep in mind that the economy was booming back then. It wasn't long before peers and professionals all gave me the same advice as to how I can get myself out of my situation. And when I tell you the advice that they gave me blew my mind, I'm not exaggerating. And Gen X, you better not deny this shit. I was told to have a baby. Have a baby. Back then, if you had a baby, you can get housing and more than enough food stamps with no issue. There were also agencies that would help furnish your whole apartment. And others would help out with clothes and school supplies. But you had to have a baby. And I didn't want a baby. And the feedback I got was kind of mind-blowing. Do you want to get out of this mess or not? You will grow to love your child. Once you're a mom, you'll get over it. I'm like, yeah, I'm not having a baby for the purpose of a meal ticket. Y'all are crazy. And that's when I started looking at the bigger picture, especially with my peers that were giving me that same advice. I would see how they were with their children, and there was no real bond. Kind of like their kids were in the way of their happiness. So with millennials being adults now and hearing their stories, I can't help but think about the times I would see them as children being pawned off on the grandmother, the auntie, and all of that. I decided to go to a women's shelter, and I worked 2 jobs until I got my first apartment when I was 19. And I did not have my first and only child until I was 37. By the way, I don't let anyone watch my daughter, and I don't do babysitters. My daughter's always with me. So in that sense, I'm much like my mom when we were young, and my mom's a baby boomer. So with many Gen Xers being grandmothers and older aunties that don't want to watch their grandchildren or young family members, I will say this. My opinion is that they always have been and always will be spoiled from that 90s era.
Y'all, I really want to talk about a subject that is not talked about a lot.
Okay, all my millennials that had grandmas, stand up, because I got something to say about this. Okay, first and foremost, we got to understand the times in which our parents were raised. Listen, our parents were raised during the sexual revolution. Our parents were raised during a time when birth control was readily available, abortion became legal. Our parents were raised during a different time than our grandparents. Our grandparents were raised and lived as adults when having a family, getting married, raising your children, ladies staying home with your children and actually taking care of those children, being present when daycare was taboo. That's the time our grandparents were raised in. So our grandparents' value system is vastly different than our parents. You can't get mad at our parents. Our parents were told that their career, making money, chasing the American dream, having a big house, having a nice car, making sure that pension, that 401k was on point. Like, that was the time in which our parents were raised. So millennials, don't get mad at your mama because your mama don't want to watch your kids. Don't get mad at your daddy because your daddy would rather, go on vacation than have Christmas at home with y'all. Whatever the situation, don't get mad. Please don't get mad. Just understand them. Take time to understand their value system. It's different. And if you want that, understand it's going to take a cultural shift. And you can't get mad at the traditional way of doing things when it's inconvenient, and then want to adopt a radical way of life that's non-traditional when it is convenient. Understand that really what you're talking about is just family values. And for a lot of people, that's a cuss word. If you want the benefits of traditional families, then it's going to require the culture to get back to traditional values. I mean, do you want it or do you not? Ain't nothing wrong with it. Grandma, listen, it wasn't nobody like my grandma. My grandmother, she was going to have you a whole set of play clothes, a whole set of church clothes. My grandma was going to have all of your foods, all the things that you love to eat already ready to go. I remember she used to tell my dad, they ain't got to bring nothing. I got everything here. Those are the good old days, weren't they? So if you want to get back to the good old days, y'all, do what they did in the good old days. Have the values that they had in the good old days. Value family. Value raising your children. And I know you say you do. But honey, the way they did it back in the 50s and the 60s, y'all just be going in. Oh my gosh, it's so misogynistic, toxic. Stop it. If you want to get that kind of result for your babies, then it's going to require a complete and total shift to what worked.
Everybody looked out for y'all, but now it's your turn and you can't do nothing.
Oh, young queen, what's going on? Because you kind of living up the two stereotypes right now, sis. You seem kind of angry, and you definitely seem like a overprivileged millennial. So what happened? Your Gen X aunties won't watch your cheerers for you? They bad? Because, we won't watch bad kids because we discipline a little bit differently than y'all gentle parenting do. So yeah, if your cheerers bad, we're not going to watch your cheerers. But I want to go to address some of the other things that you had said. Because you know how in the start of your video you talked about when you was a kid and you would go out and you play with your friends, with Gen X parents. Now, were you what we used to call fast? You was calculating your friends' parents' ages so that you knew that they was Gen X, and that's how you know to blame the whole generation for your children, your friends being at their grandparents' house. Was it a situation? Is that possible? Was you in a place where it was a lot of that did happen, where parents and grandparents and aunties was raising children. But outside of that, outside of the whole thing, I gotta be honest with you, young queen. Gen X is known as the helicopter parents because Gen X knew what it was like to grow up without any supervision. So we was all in on our children. You could ask my children. We was all in. And the reason, if you did see our children with our sister or with our mother, it was for our own safety because we didn't trust just anybody to be with our children. So they had to be with somebody that we knew. We was the parents who said, no, you can't go over there. I don't know them. They could come over here. So I feel badly for you because you sound like you're kind of hurt. But I just got to tell you the other thing that, it's the reason they say stay out of grown folk business because something else that you may not understand what was going on back in that time. By the time Gen X was having children, our mothers was getting enlightened by Oprah. So, and they had gotten some of our daddies to go to church and stuff, and they was doing stuff because they was getting closer to the Lord. And then, they wanted to prove to God that they could be better at parenting than they was with us. So they be asking us to bring our children over and let them hang out. And of course the children love to get spoiled and we didn't mind the free time, but we wasn't just dropping them off for no good, at least not most of us, because we was wanting to know what was going on. We knew what it was like to grow up without supervision, and we wasn't trying to do that with our children. In fact, most of us are very close to our children to this day. So I'm sorry, I gotta refute what you're saying, young queen. And exes, who gonna co-sign?
Y'all, I really want to talk about a subject that is not talked about a lot.
Good morning, TikTok. So good morning, TikTok. Go back and watch that video that I stitched with this one. And it's about Gen X grandparents and grandmamas and dropping the grandkids off at Big Mamas and all this other stuff. Let me tell y'all something. I'm a grandmama of 9. And baby, I'll get them when I want to get them. You don't tell me when to get my grandkids. 1, they're not disciplined like we was disciplined. And they're not going to come to our house and tear up our things that we work hard for. 2, this big mama still works a full-time job. And has a husband. And still taking care of a child. 3, you should have thought about that before you had your kids, honey. Not that you want everybody to babysit them or nothing like that, but we outside too. We doing stuff too. We living the life that we didn't get to live when we had our children. Because guess what? Our mamas was like, some of them you could drop off, some of them you couldn't. So, we tired. We'll get them when we want to get them. If we don't want to get them, we ain't going to get them. But you can't be mad. You can't be mad because you chose to have that don't want to help you take care of them kids. Sorry. But I love my grandchildren. There's nothing that I would not do for my grandchildren. But after I done work 5 days a week, I don't want them on the weekend, and I don't want them on Friday nights either. Until I can rest up and plan my month for that weekend out the month when I'm going to get them. But now, don't get me wrong, when it comes to emergencies and stuff like that, we here. We down like 4 flat tires. We got you. But just so you can be gallivanting or doing whatever you want to do, that's not what we're here for. That ain't what Gen X here for. So I know that you feel entitled, but it's the audacity for me, like the other lady said on her video, that you thought because you had kids that they automatically was entitled to some free child care. It's a no for me. Because I paid for child care for mine. And I had to pay for a nanny for mine. Because I didn't have no aunties or anything that I could drop my kids off with. So the responsibility fell on myself and my husband. Which it should have, because we the one that had them children. Now, yes, it was great when my mother would allow us to have my kids fly in for the week, for the summer. Yeah. But it wasn't something that I expected. And I think that the expectation needs to be that when people are assisting you with taking care of your kids, be it grandparents, great-grands, aunties, cousins, whoever, there's a sense of entitlement there that because you had the kids, and yeah, they are grandchildren or nieces and nephews, that somebody gonna take care of. But that ain't the case. Cause we trying to get outside too. We're living longer. We got better health than our parents had. And we out there. We outside. We outside, and we ain't trying to come back inside. So sorry your feelings hurt, but get over yourself.
Okay. The Gen X have spoken. Let me know what you think about this video down in the comment section. The Gen X respond the original video. What the original video was accusing the Gen X for them being a terrible grandmom and auntie, and the Gen X respond to this. Please go down in the comment section and share your thoughts. Love to know what you think about this, but please keep it respectful as always. You're on this channel, we're allowed to disagree, but we do it in a respectful way. So go ahead, feel free to share your thoughts, okay? It's so amazing how the Gen X, they come from a different angle of why this is and why they will not look after your children, or why some of them say, oh no, we're there for our children. I find this very interesting. I just like the different angle they were coming from, but I feel like every point is valid in this video. Like I always say here on this channel, every opinion is very valid, and I see where all of them are coming from. I'm a millennial. I'm an older millennial. I was born 1984, so I'm an older millennial. But clearly, I get what you're saying. Like, and this is why you're on this channel. We're always telling women to be very intentional how they live their life. And the Gen X, I feel like a Gen X grandmom will not want to look after our grandkids or tell you, like, you know, because nobody tell them when you have kids, you're going to raise the kids yourself. And now they'll be able to raise 6 children all by themselves. And now you, as the millennial, you choose to go and have kids. You're going to look after your kids. And that's another thing. Yeah, in my society, I like referring my society and my culture, because this is what I know. This is what I live and all that. You see grandmoms telling you, oh, give me grandchildren. I want to see my grandchildren before I die and all that. And one thing I tell people is that, fine, they are going to say, grandparents, your parents are going to say that they want their grandkids. But the truth is that when you have those kids, you, especially you, the mother, you are responsible for that kid 99.9% of the time. These grandparents are going to be looking at the children at their convenience, whether I like it or not. So when you want to have kids, you be very intentional and ask yourself, do you have the time? Do you have the money? Do you have the resources to have these kids? But thinking that you're going to have kids and somebody else, your mom, your aunt, is going to look after them, you're wrong. Because whether you like it or not, these people have their own life. They've lived their own life, and they don't want. I also amazed, like yesterday live that we did, I was talking about how my grandmom was a big influence of how I become the woman I am today, and why I'm very anti my society and my culture. Yes, my grandmom looked after us, like we can go to a place. Most summer holidays coming up, like this August, was spending the whole summer break with us. She loved having us. She loved having her. My grandmom didn't have a lot of children. She only had 3 kids, and the age space between them was huge. My mom and younger brother was 9 years different. So yes, so my grandmom loved having us around, but at the same time, whether my mom like it or want to admit it or not, my mom was still doing the bulk of the work, because when school resumed, we're back home, she's doing it. My grandmom was there. So whether you like it or not, when you as a woman, whether you're a Gen Z, a millennial, whatever, and you're choosing to have kids, don't put that responsibility on somebody. And even I, as an auntie that don't have kids and I'm going child free, I don't expect my sister, as much as I love kids and they know I'll be a fantastic parent, you can't just come dump your children on me. No, you have to, like, if it's convenient for me, I'll take it, but it's not my duty. I choose not to have kids for a reason. The Gen X grandmom have raised their kids. You that choose to have kids, you should have asked yourself, do you have the time, the resources, the money, the energy, the power, the time to raise this kid? And if you don't, if you can't answer this question, then don't have kids. A lot of the time, a lot of women have kids because society, that's what society asks them to. They don't go through the thought process of asking them, is this what I really want? Am I really able? Am I really capable of it? And I feel like, and that's another thing, like I think I'll do a whole video of that. And I feel like a lot of millennials, like older millennials, that were older children, like first daughter that raised their younger ones, their cousins and all that, I'm seeing the pattern that it's most of us that are going child free. Please let me know if I'm wrong down in the comment section, and let me know if you're child free and if you're the firstborn of it. Because I feel like if you're the firstborn, especially the first daughter in your house, and you've raised your younger ones, you don't even want to do, because you've tasted how it is to raise a child, and you're like, I don't think, do I want to do that? Do I want to? You've made me clean them and all that, and you don't want to do that. So you as an adult that choose to have kids, be ready to take care of your kids. And this is why we always talk about here on this channel, like, as women, before I'm not telling anybody not to have kids or not to have, but if you choose to have kids, be very intentional. Ask yourself if you're ready. Don't have kids with the intention or with the mind of, oh, my kids are my grandmama gonna, no. I have a sister, my mom is helping with her kids, and it's not a right, it's a privilege that my mom has the time and my mom wants to. And if you come to think of it, your mother has probably like 3-4 kids. She can't share herself as a grandmom to look at all the grandkids at the same time, or go look at the grandkids. Like, my mom can only be in one household at a time. So guys, like I always say here on this channel, be very intentional about how you move, who you choose to have kids, why you choose to have kids. Don't have kids thinking that you're just going to dump it on someone to help you raise it. If you're talking about, oh, community, oh, we used to have community, you know, that is not possible now, because now everybody's working, everybody have bills to pay. So it's almost impossible for that community. Everybody has trauma they are trying to heal. Everybody has one struggle they are going with, that they can't just focus on you. They have to focus on themselves. Anyway, guys, please go down in the comment section and share it. I'd love to know what you think about this amazing conversation down in the comment section. But please keep it respectful as always. Share this video with somebody that you want to be part of the conversation, because that's what we do here. We have banging conversation. So go ahead and share this video. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, smash the like button, because this helps YouTube to push out my content for more people to see. That'll be supporting this channel and this girl here. So go ahead and do that. Subscribe if you haven't, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Deuces.